Welcome, Carrie, to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Where in the world are you tuning in from?
It's a fun question. I'm actually living out of my camper trailer, travel around the United States with my big fluffy dog. But we decided to spend the summer up on a lake in Minnesota. We're just north of Minneapolis. So we're getting to live the lake life this summer. It's been great.
Beautiful. Is this something that you've been doing for a long time?
It's just been over a year.
Wow.
I launched from Oregon. COVID actually got me back to my parents and
Hmm.
didn't realize the condition they were in until I got home and they're older and they needed some help. So I was taking care of them. And then they got to the point where I needed to get the care that was more suited for them. So we got them into adult care,
Okay.
ended up selling their home that they lived in for 50 years. A
Oh,
little
yes.
emotional.
I bet.
Yeah. And then I realized, oh, I'm homeless. And so I decided to get a camper trailer and just travel around and just kind of see which area spoke to me the most and to figure out where I want to start my next chapter.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I
Mhm.
can't wait to dig into this story. So let's begin wherever you're comfortable with the story of what brought you to where you are today, really. What is your story? What is your experiences? And what brings you on the podcast?
You bet. I'm going to take you back to kind of where it all started.
Okay.
2013, I was living in San Francisco and I had my own clothing line, Sutter Larkin. And from the outside in, it looked like I was living the dream. Like I had made it to LA Fashion Week within 3 years after launching my line. I was on all these amazing photo shoots, runway shows. I was selling these incredible clothes. Uh, it just looked like I was living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
But that actually what was really going on behind the scenes, it was just the opposite. It was a
Yeah.
complete total nightmare.
Okay.
Completely running myself ragged. If I wasn't working 24/7, I was partying 24/7. I was in poor health, horrible relationships, dirt broke.
Whoa. Okay.
What was going on is that I had all this pain deep inside me that I hadn't acknowledged. And pain was in the driver's seat. Pain was
Mm.
calling the shots. And pain doesn't make good decisions. And so I was one bad decision after another. And there was this one time I got, who knows, I have no idea why, but I got off the rail pissed at this boutique owner that was selling my clothes. And this boutique was my number one source of income. Like pretty much everything I was making was the sales of my clothes on this in the store. And Payne decided I needed to go into the boutique one night and just pull all my clothes off of the rack because I was gonna show her. Revenge is, not icing out your number one source of income, but that was my mindset at the time. So now I had no money coming in, so I decided, okay, well, I can throw a pop up. And when we had pop up events at this one boutique, I could make good money. I could make 8K a night. So easy peasy. I'll post my own pop up, get myself back on track, and things will be good. But the thing is, I'd never hosted my own pop up before. I didn't know really what I was doing. And I invested everything into it. And the night of the event, people showed up. The DJ played his music. The models did their thing. Everyone had drinks. Everyone had a great time. But when the last guest walked out the door, I sold absolutely nothing that night. And when I said I invested everything to my name, I meant it. I had $5 left in my checking account. So instead of going home and getting a good night's sleep and waking up the next morning and making some decisions to in my best interest, I decided to go out and get completely drunk that night. That's what pain wanted me to do. And it gets better, or I should say, it gets worse because I was such a mess. I wasn't paying attention, and my purse got stolen right out from under me. Keys to the apartment, iPhone, iPad, wallet, ID cards, everything. I
Ugh.
couldn't even get into my apartment that night. I ended up sleeping on the friend of a friend's floor. And I remember waking up the next morning going, oh, please have been a dream. I wish that was all a dream. And it wasn't, it was real. And I managed to finally get myself home. And sitting on the counter were 8 bottles of unopened wine. And I decided to open one, and I drank it, and I passed out. And then I opened another, I drank it, and I passed out. And I continued the cycle until I finished off the eighth bottle. I didn't have any more, I didn't have any money to buy more. And something actually happened in that moment. Just out of nowhere, these words came across my lips. This is not me. This is not Carrie Aspie. And that was my true voice. And I had been drowning out for decades with heavy drinking, drugs, toxic relationships, burnout, anything, pain was numbing it. She didn't have a voice. She wasn't able to speak. And somehow, during the darkest moment, she pushed her way through. This is not me. This is not Carrie Aspie. And that stopped me in my tracks because not only did I want change for myself, I was completely committed to change. And I knew it was time to start taking care of myself. And I knew that there was a yoga studio just literally around the corner from me. It was donation based, and you paid what you could. And if you didn't have any money, they still welcomed you. So I took yeah, it's a gift. So I took my yoga mat and I hung over ass to this class. And I had been to many yoga classes before. In fact, I'd been to this class before, but probably because, most likely because I was in my darkest state, rock bottom moment. And I was finally listening for the first time. I was finally hearing the words that this phenomenal teacher was saying. His name is Rusty Wells, and he's actually that great. He's still my mentor today. But his words, they hit me. I finally received them. And he shared with me that I am worthy of love. And that's when I literally changed my life around at that moment. I got rid of toxic relationships, stopped doing drugs, stopped abusing alcohol. I got a job at Nordstrom's as a stylist. And that was like the drop in the pond that started rippling out as far as me taking
Mhm.
care of myself, doing what's best for my best interests. And I continued to study with Vesti, and I started to really have this transformation. Started taking care of my whole being, my mind and my body. And I was walking down the streets of San Francisco one day, just feeling alive. And I thought, that I can't be the only one feeling this great. I have to share this with others. So that's when I started redirecting my path down wellness, taking care of our overall well being. That's how we are, kind of how we end up here we are today.
Wow, what a winding road. Oh my goodness. Okay. So all the success in the world, painful experiences, followed by, what someone might say is maybe not all the success in the world, and then so much joy.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. That is an extraordinary story of winding. And I love how you heard this voice come in and say, you know, this is me. This is not what I'm doing here. Okay.
Finally, for the first time, she was able to just weave her way out. probably because pain was diminished, probably because I had hit a point where I was not, the fists weren't up. I was so broken
Right.
down
So
that
broken down.
she was able to finally find her way through.
Sneaks through. Oh, wow. This is a beautiful story. Now, okay, so you moved into mentoring and saying, I want to help other people. Can you let us in a little bit on that journey? I'm curious, what was the winding road after that?
Sure. Well, this goes to another story. So, which is why we're here.
Yeah.
I so I was in San Francisco, and I was really focusing on mindfulness and studying it and learning how to teach it and help others. And then I also had my other passion, which was the sustainable fashion, my
Mm,
fashion line. And the more I got involved with fashion, the industry, the more I wanted to actually change it. Um,
mm,
I didn't want to design clothes that were just mindful and not harmful to the planet. I actually wanted to change the industry. So if you want to change the fashion industry, you actually need to go to the mothership. I needed to go to New York City. And I really didn't have anything keeping me in the Bay Area. And it's kind of been a dream of mine. So packed up the U-Haul, drove across the United States, and dove in, got really involved in the sustainable fashion movement. And um, that was taking off. I was making a difference. I was involved in a few sustainable fashion organizations, but Patagonia being one of them.
oh, okay.
And being able to share with people what was going on in the industry and how they could be part of the solution and inspiring them to do change. I was making a difference. So that was really beginning to bloom. And then teaching yoga, that was also taking off. And they were going in these other directions. And it's like, I love them both. How do I
Mm,
bring them together? And as I was getting more involved in environmentalism, I got really involved in wildlife conservation and I was attending a wildlife symposium with all these beautiful speakers from all around the world saying these great things. And there was this moment when one guy got up and he said, it's great that we have all these nonprofits and we have all these charities. I appreciate the work that they're doing, but we have to be really real. Their work isn't going to do anything unless we have a conscious shift on how humans have the relationship with animals. Instead of viewing them as they are theirs, or just animals or wildlife, it's not ours to take. It's ours to care for and live in harmony and keep the balance.
mm,
And I remember sitting in the back row, like, I can do that. I can take my mindfulness. I can help people learn to love themselves. And when you start loving yourself, you become a loving being. And you love yourself, you love others, and you love the world around you. And I was like, this is it. This is how I'm merging it because I'm going to help people and I'm going to use nature to help them feel their best so they have a relationship with nature so that when they actually transform, they're going to become advocates for this planet. Like, I can do this. This is it. And then, then, then 2020, that was 2020 in February. And then 2020 March came. And that's when New York City became the epicenter of
yes.
the pandemic. And I
Hmm.
managed to get out. I got out quick and
Oh,
fast.
okay.
That's a whole nother story. But I got out, and then that's when I went to Oregon because of leaving New York. But everything
Okay.
I had built in New York was now gone. And my work
Oh my
and my
gosh.
community just diminished. And so it did hit me hard, but
Yes.
also it was the reset button. It's like I'm starting
Mm,
over again, and now I know what I'm going to do. I know I that seed was planted. So then I had all this time on my hands. So I got to write a book.
mm,
I got to get my certifications, take my courses, totally develop being a wellness coach using mindfulness and nature as a way to help people heal, be their best, and thrive.
wow. That is beautiful. What a beautiful story. Again, oh my gosh, your stories there. You're a beautiful storyteller. That is something that you're very talented at.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. So, okay. So now something awful has happened again, and yet you've got this presence of mind to say, no, this is actually going to be really good. The seed is planted. I'm going to take these courses. I'm going to go through this experience, and then I'm going to really launch my career because I've gotten the clarity I needed going into COVID. And so I'm going to spend this time here. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And so what do you
And
do
that,
now? Go ahead, please.
oh no, so I have to say that what you just said um is a gift that a good friend gave to me when I was a young girl. So my parents, they're good friends. This one woman was my one of my mom's best friend, Linda Graves, and she took me in like her own. She became someone I could turn to for anything. She always held space. She always listened without judgment. Um, she always let me know I was heard and supported. And I remember when I was like probably 12 or 13, I remember talking to her on the phone, just crying my eyes out, just, letting it all go. And then afterwards, she goes, I am so happy for you. And I was like, how are you happy for me? I just cried
Huh?
my eyes out.
Mhm.
And she said, I can't wait to see how this is going to help you grow. And she taught me that when life is going our way, we're too happy skipping down the path, smelling the flowers, the bluebirds are landing on we're caught up in that beautiful moment. We actually don't have time for growth. Growth happens when you are hit sideways. You have to see things differently and you have to navigate through it. And so she always taught me that our difficult times are our opportunity for growth. And I learned that at a really young age. So that was a really good practice. I mean, I'm human and things don't go my way. I'm still going to have that instant, but I'm also going to have a moment to go, okay, where's the lesson? This is not
Mm,
happening to me. This is happening for me. And that is a beautiful gift to learn as a young girl and be able to get
mhm.
through all this.
That teacher may have been the person who really saved your life in that moment of the eighth bottle of wine, where that lesson came
Absolutely.
in. Hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I still had to go through the process of,
Worse?
going through the whole change and transformation, but I knew I was going to come out a different person.
I
Yeah,
always say that it would be so ideal for us to learn everything that we need to learn by having a tea with a guru, somebody who's really inspiring, and we create this wonderful life as a result, and we save all these other humans, and we're better for it. But that's just not how it works. It's not tea with a guru. It's something that sideswipes you and crumbles you all the way to your knees. And then we have a choice, to become better or bitter. And in this experience, you said, this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And so you did make a choice.
I like that word. You have a choice. Do I want to be better or bitter? And that's so true. You get to take the moment to pause and decide. And and that's actually what I mean. I'm one of the things I'm a huge advocate for is a morning ritual, and it
Mm.
is to get up in the morning to take really good care of yourself, nurture your mind, nurture your body, get yourself in a good state because life is going to happen. Someone might cut you off while you're, driving down the road or take your parking spot or you might be carrying something you might break. That's going to happen. But when you're in a calm state, you can respond to all that stuff. You have a choice. You can get yourself, how can I deal with this best? When you are amped up, when you're full of anxiety or when you're stressed out, and life happens, you react. And react comes from pain. Comes from it comes from fear. And
Yeah.
and usually when you react afterwards, you can regret. So when you put yourself in a calm state, that's your baseline in the day. You're going to have that instant, and then you can calm, get yourself back into a good place, and then navigate forward your best instead of bitter.
Right. Wow. Very cool. I love that. I love that that teaching of when when we begin our day, let's find a new baseline so that you can throughout the day come back to it. Something you've already
Mm-hmm.
established, something you've already created. So thank you for that education there.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay. And so you found yourself taking care of your parents for a time. They've transitioned into to help aided living, and you decided to travel and live out of your camper van and live kind of your best life. How have you been integrating all of your education, your work, into this amazing life you've been living?
That is a great question. There's two things that I offer. Um, so one of them is that I decide, okay, I have this book out and I have a signature talk that goes along with it. Since I'm going to be on the road, I might as well let people know I'm coming and see if they're interested in hosting a wellness discussion and book signing. So we have a PR person to help me coordinate the whole event. I'd let her know where I was traveling to, then she'd reach out to people in advance and
Oh,
see if they wanted to yeah, to have discussions and book signings. Excuse me. And then I also, something I actually started in New York City and I continue to do is that I love to offer up free outdoor yoga, donation based yoga. Um,
paying it forward.
because yeah, it's what helped me. And I only teach yoga outside because of that connection to nature. It really does help you stay in that present moment and keeps you calm and it's nourishing. So I offer up free yoga. So every stop I would offer up either there would be either book signing or there would be yoga or both. And so we were hopping around the United States offering that up.
Cool.
Yeah, it was, I would say, yes, seeing the country and seeing, the different environments and the history and the roadside attractions, those stuff is fun, but it
Yeah.
was meeting people from all
Hmm.
walks of life who I probably
Hmm.
would never ever cross paths with before and having a sincere, genuine, authentic connection and just realizing how much we are so much the same. If you
Yeah.
get away all the surface stuff, the politics and all the stuff that's, wedging us apart, you literally get rid of all that. We are so much the same. We are so much want to be loving and caring and kind people. And I love to
Mm,
know that. I know that. I don't, no one has to tell me that. I actually experienced it.
yeah. Oh, that's just so special. Can you tell me about your book? What will we learn? What education will we gain from reading your book?
Well, it is called Your Morning Ritual, Mindful Habits for Peace and Resilience. So
Amazing.
I did touch a little bit about it. It is about, excuse me, it is a little bit about, well, it is about getting up in the morning
Mhm.
and having that moment of tapping in with yourself. What do I need today to feel my best? And, um, and then taking care of yourself. And so you're in a good state so you can navigate forward with your best interests. A lot of people have this notion that getting up a morning ritual is getting up at 4 a.m., going to the gym, watching the sunrise while you have your ceremony tea and your journaling. Like that's a to-do list and that's
Fine.
exhausting. You could do some of those things, but it's really saying, if I need to have a little more peace, maybe you're going to meditate and or maybe sit outside and listen to the birds. Or maybe you need a little more joy in your life. So you could take your favorite dance tune and turn it up and dance like nobody's watching. Or spending just uninterrupted time with your pet. that is unconditional joy right there. It's a it's a ritual that's created just for you, and the difference between a routine is a to-do list, check, check, check. A ritual is intention of taking care of yourself. So it's all about you creating a ritual that's just for you. I can't tell you what you need. You get to take a moment, pause, find out, check in, and then move forward, taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds very practical and easily applicable for any person who, maybe and especially the person who's like, "Oh gosh, morning ritual, no thank you." Especially that person is going to gain so much from having their own unique ritual that's theirs and that's going to be helpful for them and going to set that baseline in a more peaceful way. I love the practicality of it.
Yeah, that's the number one pushback. I love the idea. I don't have the time. You do
Yeah,
have
fine.
the time. You do, even if it's just 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just being taught how to make that time feasible.
amazing. Okay. So at this point in the podcast, then, Carrie, I'm curious, could you offer, any education or advice around somebody who's in a similar situation? Perhaps they are kind of hitting their rock bottom, maybe they're stressed out, burnt out, maybe they feel like they can't start, whatever it is, but they're kind of at the bottom right now, and you've got such a story of resilience. I'm curious about what you might offer them as kind of a first step, second step.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Hmm.
I have 2 words of advice I'd love to share. The first one is to remind this person or whoever maybe I'm talking to that everything is temporary and that it's it may seem like there's no end in sight, but there will be an end. And when you come out of darkness, you go into light and you will go into things will go into a better you'll go into a better chapter. And you're going to be able to live and you're going to have joy and you're going to have memories that are you can't even imagine right now because you haven't experienced them yet. And then you're going to have a moment where things are going to you're going to have another blow and it could be pretty rough, but you work through it and you navigate through it because every time you go through a rough spot, you learn. And the more you learn, you can get through each rough spot better and better. And then you get through your rough spot and then you get to live this beautiful life and joy that's not there. So we get through the hard part so that you can live in the most beautiful element that life has to have. And my second advice is you do have the strength in you to get through this. We all do. It's the way we're programmed. Because when we were tiny little babies and we were scooting around on our hands and knees or scooting around on your bottom, something inside us said, it's time for me to stand up and walk. And we didn't get it right the first time. First we had to push ourselves up and we would fall down. And then we were standing and we'd fall over, might even hit our head on the table. And then you take a few steps and you'd fall over. You maybe didn't take a first step. Maybe you just tried to take a step and fell. But never once as little babies did we throw our arms in the air and go, I suck. I can't do this. We continued to keep trying and we did it. We didn't get it right, but we kept on going until we finally did get up and we're walking. So if we can do that, we still have that process in us and to just keep on taking one step at a time, getting slowly and every step you're going to get closer and closer to getting out of this dark chapter. But you can do it.
Oh, yes. Isn't that the truth? Well said.
Yes.
And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
You're so welcome. It's my honor. It really is my honor. So thank you for giving me the time and space to share.
Certainly. Absolutely. Okay, well, I'll link your book, Carrie. I'm sure there'll be many people who'd like to take a look at that. And as well as I assume you've got a website or something like that that people can connect with you and kind of follow your journey, ideally.
Yeah, oopsie. Am I still there? Yeah. Um, Definitely feel free to check out my book. I also actually have a 5 minute self-love free guide. So
Mm.
if you go to carrieasby.com/freebie, and I can give you that link as well, it's a 5 minute guide, um, just that you can do first thing in the morning to kind of get your ritual started. And I'd love for people to come hang out with me on Instagram. It's at Carrie Aspie. And I give a lot of wonderful wellness tips and share events that I have coming up. And I'd love to hear from people.
Hey, perfect. Excellent. Well, I will link all that. Thank you again for taking the time out of your day, and this beautiful trip that you're on, the nature that you're surrounded by, and to commandeer a campground lodge and come and take the time to come and chat with us today.
Oh, it's been great. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much.
My pleasure.